book. The book is very transparent. You're very detailed about your journey from Jamaica to America to study at MIT. Your sports passions are interwoven in there, and of course, your faith is obviously a theme that drives your morality and all that. Uh, Give people just a generic overview of the book and what you were trying to accomplish by putting pen to paper.
I think that's the right way to kick off this conversation here, Brandon. I think um, what I wanted to do right from the start was to be transparent. I wanted to share my story, the ups and the downs, the failures and the successes, to ultimately be a mentor for the younger generation.
Mm.
I grew up in a family of educators. My mom is a teacher for over 45 years. Her siblings, if I do the math right, it is eight of her nine siblings are all teachers. So I came from that kind of background where I saw my mom teaching, both in the classroom, even at home as well. And I'm thinking, what would be the best way to be a mentor for young minds remotely? It's not enough to do a mentorship from a video in literally 10 minutes. It's hard to do that. So that's why I wrote the book, to be transparent and show the real life story with images, with context, honest stories that can pull people in and share those mentorship moments.
Yeah, I'm really glad you too. And you mentioned that too. One of the things that I do enjoy very much, folks, these are like real color photos, and they're blended in with the story as you're following his life's journey. So it really puts faces and some context. I love that so much about a biography, especially an autobiography, because sometimes I'll get it, and there's like a section with photos, whatever. So kudos to you for doing that. And man, I couldn't agree with you more, especially when you think about the young folks of this age, the addiction to social media, the need for a mentor is huge. And I'm sure, and the book talks about some of that, that have inspired you. But what is it? Can you try to whittle down in a nutshell one of the biggest benefits to you in your life of having a mentor?
Oh my, that,
It's hard to I know it's hard to kind of
yeah, man.
give a soundbite on that, but it's one of those things where I'm always interested in trying to pass on those words of wisdom. And that's what you tell people: you need a mentor, you need someone.
You need a mentor. And I'll share with you a simple quote that I learned at a very critical point in my life. It was after a major failure. And I always found mentorship through books. And I remember reading a book in a library in high school. And the quote said, "It is smart to learn from your mistakes, but it's wise to learn from the mistake of others."
Mm,
And I think that is the nutshell there, Brandon, of what a mentor is. It
yeah.
is it is understanding their failures, having that one-to-one conversation. If it's in person, it's great to have that one-to-one. If it's, you know, a distant approach where you're reading a book, it may not be one-to-one, but it's still intimate because you're seeing and hearing those life lessons that the mentor experienced. So I would think that is the number one message that I would share on the benefit and value of a mentor. It really teaches you not what to do, but what not to do.
Mm, yes, yes. It speeds up that learning curve, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing is, and for anyone who doesn't think that they do that or doesn't understand the value in that, I challenge you, especially you're like me, where you're not particularly handy and you don't know how to do something, and you go to YouTube and watch a video, and basically all you're doing is having a passive mentorship on how to do whatever you're trying to do.
Hmm.
So I think what you're saying, Tariq, is to apply that to other aspects of your life, things that are maybe outside the box that people don't think about in day-to-day life. It's like you need a mentor to look up to help you maybe shave off some of these rough edges.
well said there, Brandon. And I love the example that you shared about a YouTube page. You know, if you're going to YouTube and you're trying to learn, that's totally fine. But I think it's that one-way passive learning experience where you're just regurgitating or repeating what the YouTube video explains. But I think true learning is going through that experience, figuring it out as you go along, taking the advice of individuals, and it smoothens those rough edges, as you said, but it also builds on the skill set. It builds on the talents because you're experiencing those critical moments that shapes your skills, your perspective. So it's very important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that you've